Hey everyone, Leandro here. Today we're going to explore how to send emails using the Resend mail service in a Next.js app. Alright, these are gonna be the sections. Learn how to sign up for Resend and get everything ready for sending emails. I'll walk you through logging into your domain provider and setting up name servers with Resend's info. Then I'll show you how to write the code to send emails with Next.js and Resend. After that, we're all set. Okay, sign into Resend. I'm using their free tier. All you need to get started is a domain name. After logging in, you'll be taken to the emails page, where you can see a list of the emails that have been sent. Now let's go ahead and click on the Domains tab. On the Domains page, click the Add Domain button. Now, enter your domain name and click the Add button. And after that, we have to do what it says here. We need to access the DNS settings page of your domain name provider. As you can see, I'm using Namecheap, and add all the following DNS records to the records section. Once all are added, click the Verify Records button above. Now, log into your domain name provider, choose your domain, and click the Manage button. Now, you need to set up your DNS records. In my case, I have to go to Advanced DNS. Start adding the DNS records provided by Resend. One of the records will be an MX record. Some domain name providers don't have an MX record in the drop-down list, so you might need to create a custom one. And when adding the MX record, you'll see a value number. This is the priority. I'm choosing 10. The priority value only matters if you have multiple MX records. It's a relative priority. If you only have one, pick any number, but 10 is a common choice. After setting up the DNS records, click the Verify Domain button, and after a while, you'll see the Verified Status screen. Make sure you don't mess up the DNS records like I did. I got them mixed up and ended up waiting 6 hours just to see a failed status response. Good thing I don't write software for nuclear power plants. After verifying your domain, go to API keys and click on Create API. Add the name of your API key and click the Add button. Now, copy your key and store it somewhere safe. Be careful, as you can only view it once. With the setup complete, we can move on to working with Next.js. Alright, let's dive into the code. First things first, we want to install a few dependencies. Let's start by installing Resend's Node SDK. I'm going to copy this command and let's paste it here. So next, we have to install React Email. This is a library for creating and sending emails using React components. Now we have to install React components. Let's copy this command and paste it again. And the last dependency we need to install is sub. Now we can start the development server with npm run dev. Create a .env file for your environment variables, and Resend API key is where you want to paste the API key you got from Resend. And we're also going to need SMTP email. This is going to be your email address. So now if we navigate to the page, to the home page, we have a div wrapper, an h1 element, and we are importing this send email form component from components. And this is a client component because we want to add interactivity and notify the user about the outcome of the form submission. So if we navigate to send email form, so inside components, we've got a form with an email input and a text area. This email is for getting the user's email, and so that we have an email address to reply to. This is going to be the message of the email. We also have a paragraph where we're going to output the message that is coming from the send email action. And here's our submit button, and we are importing mail data state from types. This is going to be the type of the data that being returned from the server action. And we are also going to be using use action state. If you're not familiar with use action state, it essentially combines the functionality of use form action and use form status. It streamlines the process of handling form submissions by managing both the action and the status of the form in one place. This accepts two parameters: send email action, which is going to be our server action for sending emails, and initial state. And let's break down how this works. When we submit the form, This form action links to the send email action function. This function is triggered when the form is submitted. While the form is processing, its pending is set to true. This state is particularly useful because it allows us to disable the submit button, preventing users from submitting the form multiple times. Once processing is complete, its pending becomes false and the state is updated with the result returned from send email action. In our case, we're updating an object with a message property. This message is then displayed in the paragraph element. Now let's head over to the actions file. This is our server action for sending the emails, but right now let's see if the data is getting through. We'll log the received data to the console and return a simple message. This setup ensures that the values are captured and processed correctly. Remember to flag this component as a server component with use server. We have to import our mail data state again to use it. We're not gonna use this prep state parameter, only the form data. And now if we go back to VS Code, we can see the values in the console. Everything's working perfectly. We're good to go. Okay, so now we need to import sod and resend for input validation and resend to handle sending the emails. And I'm going to delete this console log and let's add here this sod validation schema. And now I'm going to replace this object with these lines of code. And here we are creating an instance of resend using the API key from our environment variables, and we are also extracting email and message from form data. Let's wrap our logic in a try-catch block and let's use sod save parts to validate email and message. If validation fails, it logs the errors and returns a validation error message. After validation, prepare the email payload. This is the information that will be sent to the Resend service. You'll need from. This is the sender's email, your website's contact email. This part has to match your domain or you'll receive a 403 error if you check the logs. This is the recipient's email, often your own email for receiving messages. The email subject include the sender's email for context, and I'm going to comment this out for now, and the email message content. First, we're going to use plain text for simplicity, and then we're going to use an email template. So now we're going to add the actual email sending part. First, we use await resend email send and we pass the email payload. This sends the email based on the payload we've set up, which includes all the details like the sender, recipient, and content. Once we send the email, we're going to check if there's an error. If something goes wrong with the Resend service, we'll handle it right here. And after that, we let the user know with a simple success message. And if something goes wrong, we catch it in the catch block, log the error to the console, and show the user a fallback message. And we can delete this last line and let's log this Resend data to the console. Okay, let's save this file. I need to fix this right here. Let's delete this data part. Okay, now we can save the file. Let's go to the browser and try to send an email. It says email send. Let's go to Gmail and here we can see the message we just sent. Okay, now let's try with an email template. And now in the source folder, let's create a new folder for our templates. And now we need a new folder called emails for our email templates. Here we create a new file, welcome email template.tsx. We are going to create our welcome email template with React email. We can actually build the email like it's a React component. Pretty cool, right? Instead of manually writing the HTML, we get to use React-like components to structure our email, making it way easier to maintain and tweak later on. We start by defining the types for the props that the template will accept. In this case, we need to pass message and email as props to the template. Once the types are defined and the props are passed in, the email template will use this to dynamically insert the content where needed. So it's not just a static email, it can change based on the data we send it. Now let's save this file. Let's head over to Actions. Let's import the email template we just created. Let's comment this out and now we can pass it to the React property in the email payload configuration object. Now I'm going to save this and let's go to the browser. Let's send an email again. Now let's open Gmail. Let's refresh. Okay, here's our template. It doesn't look great, but you can use templates from React Email. If you go to their page here in templates, let's try with this magic link. Go to the source code and let's copy this. Let's add a new file here. Magic link template.tsx and let's paste the code here. Okay, I'm going to save this. Let's go back to Actions. And I'm going to copy this name and now we need to import it. I'm going to comment this out. Import. It's a default import. So Let's comment this out too. And I'm going to pass this login code. Now I'm going to save this file and let's send an email again. Open Gmail again. We have a new message. We can't see the image because our site is not live, meaning that it hasn't been deployed to Resend yet. But yeah, this is the template we just used and this is the code we passed to it. Thanks for watching. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to leave a comment, like the video and subscribe to the channel for more content. See you in the next one.